This message is sponsored by the Australian Government, AusAid, and produced by NEMA in collaboration with WINN FM.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Do you want to know what's happening in sport? Tune in to On The Ball, a weekly tour show which is on WINN FM 98.9 every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. with me, your host, Troy Bif Mills. We will keep you on the ball with our variety of guests and, of course, your calls, discussing the facts and the stats and sharing your opinions. Get on the ball and stay on the ball by tuning into On The Ball with Troy Bif Mills on WINN FM 98.9 every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. and also on Facebook and YouTube. Be on the ball. pleasure to be here again with another edition of On the Ball. It's a special edition because guess what? I am coming to you live and direct from Doha in Qatar. So we are using the technology. I have to say a very big thank you to my production team. We have Raspy in the studios of Tough House Sound and the DJ Flames, who is probably home sleeping, fast asleep, or maybe listening, I don't know. But in St. Kitts and Nevis, the time is actually 7:22. We apologize for being a little tardy. And we here in Qatar, the time is 2:22 a.m. Qatar is 7 hours ahead of St. Kitts and Nevis. So while you folks are running up early, I'm actually should have been sleeping long time ago. But guess what? I'm here as president of the St. Kitts and Nevis Table Tennis Association. I'm attending the International Table Tennis Federation, which is the governing body for table tennis in the world. And I'm here attending the 2025 ITTF Summit. I've been here since last week, Wednesday, and we've been having some wonderful sessions, and it ended today with the elections. And me, oh my, oh me, oh my. Ah, boy, I don't really know what happened, but as a sports journalist, I have to tell you what happened. And let us get into some facts and figures. There were some 185 countries. Well, let me start a different way. The ITTF has 227 countries as part of it. Much more than, not much more, but FIFA. You would think FIFA is the biggest sport in the world, but table tennis actually is. Because FIFA has 211 members and the table tennis has 227. Table tennis is even, no, let me not say it that way. Table tennis is, it has the ITTF, it has more countries than the United Nations. The United Nations is made up of 193 countries, 193. So FIFA, more than United Nations, and St. Kitts and ITTF, more than FIFA. So that FIFA is 211. The United Nations, they have 193, and the ITTF 227. So big things are going on in table tennis. So yes, we had all kind of things. And today we had the voting. 185 persons were present. And when they started the voting, that is where the problem happened. They were voting for the president of the ITTF. And originally there were 3 members, but then one decided to pull out on the day today before the voting started. So it came down to 2 members. It came down to Mr. Khalil, who is the president of the Qatar Table Tennis Federation, and he's also the president of the Asia Table Tennis Union. So very, very powerful man. And he was now challenging the incumbent, Miss Petra Sarling. She is out of Sweden, and she a former champion. She's also a member of the Olympic Committee. And boy, well, let's not get into that part as yet. We had to vote on the host for the 2027 World Cup, 2028
and 2029. And that was a little bit interesting. For 2027, and how the voting went actually, if you had more than two countries vying, then you have to win by getting more than 50% of the votes. And if you don't get that, then you're going to another round, and the country that got the least votes, they would have to pop out of it. So we went ahead, and the first one was Astana in Kazakhstan. There were three of them: Astana, Montpellier in France, and San Jose. When the voting was done, I'll start at the bottom. San Jose had 38 votes, or just 18.6%. Montpellier in France, they had 79 votes, or 38.72%. And Astana in Kazakhstan had 87 votes, or 42.8%. So we said bye-bye to San Jose, USA. And then we went to another voting again between Astana, Kazakhstan, and Montpellier. And when that voting was done, 111 members voted for Kazakhstan, and that represented 54.08% of the vote. And Montpellier in France got 92 votes, or 45.32. A maximum of 200 persons could have voted, but that was 203 would have voted. So that's in 2027, the World Table Tennis Championships. That's going to be in Kazakhstan. We then went to 28. Well, Brazil should have been in 2027. You know, they made the bid and they were accepted. However, they dropped out, and that was the end of that. So 2028, Brazil dropped out, and that left Fukuoka. Boy, I got to learn Japanese. Japan, a city in Japan, won unopposed. So they're going to host it in 2028. Now, this was a kind of shock to most people in the area. They had, now for the big one, the 2029, that is, 4 countries were now in the running. Rio de Janeiro, Brazil; San Jose, USA, still back in it; Berlin, Germany; and China. So the same thing applied. We had to vote for, and I said we, because obviously I was there voting as well. So we had to vote, and if any one of these got more than 50%, they automatically won. But if they didn't, we have to go to a second round and a third round accordingly. So after the first round, San Jose, they got 39 votes, or 19.5%. Germany got 43 votes, or 21.5%. China got 50 votes, or 25%. And Rio de Janeiro, Brazil got 68 votes, or 34%. Excuse me. So we had to go voting again, and we had to dispatch of the one with the lowest, which was San Jose. So we were now down to Rio de Janeiro, Berlin in Germany, and China. And at the end of the day, would you believe Berlin, Germany got 49 votes, or 24.62. So they were kicked out of the race at this stage. China got 52 votes, or 26.13%. They were second, and Rio de Janeiro in Brazil got 96 votes, or 49.29%, not 50%. So we had to go to another round of voting, and therefore Germany was lost by the West side. So it was now down between Rio de Janeiro and China. And I guess by the percentages and the numbers I've been calling, you should be able to guess. And I'm sure my 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 producer, Tough Old Sound, I'm sure he must be able to guess who in it. China, 68 votes are 34.17%. Rio de Janeiro, 131 votes or 65.83 of the 205 possible votes, but only 199 countries voted. And they had some voters online. There were 185 in person. So when we started this thing, 185, we had like 14 online. And the strange thing, some persons didn't vote, some abstained from voting, and there was an option. You either click Brazil or China or abstain. And some persons didn't vote at all. And when the vote started the voting, I saw a phone that I ANC for like 50 years now, a BlackBerry, but it wasn't a phone. It was an electronic device used for the voting. Still BlackBerry, they look at things different from how they look in the early 2000s. So you just scroll up in the ball in the middle, scroll up yes, no, and then you press another button to select yes. So Rio de Janeiro, they're going to be hosting the 2029 World Championship. So we say congratulations to them. Congratulations to Japan for hosting the 2028 World Table Tennis Championship, and to Uzbekistan. And they had to make some presentations before everybody. And boy, these presentations, these guys went all the way out, to tell you, believe me, all the way out. And you felt like you could have voted for all of them. The hotels, the transportations, how far the hotels are from the competition places. And boy, that was just something else. And that was the end of that. But the biggie was the voting for the president. And after the president, they were going to vote for 8 vice presidents and some council members. And we got off the elections of the ITTF president. And how they did it, they called each country one by one, starting with Afghanistan, I think. That's the first country. So Afghanistan, they go up. And of course, you have to be in good standings. And they go and they vote, and you can't go until they come out. So I have to write them and make a recommendation, because it was a long process, man, a long process. So I have to write them, and no doubt other people might have made that recommendation before. They have perhaps 3 or 4 booths. So 4 countries voted at a time, and that would cut the timing down tremendously. So if all the countries took, let's say, 2 hours, when you use the 4 stations, you should cut it down to about 30 minutes. And I know these things that happen here in the local associations here in St. Kitts and Nevis, all kind of things. But the first thing you had to do was pay. And of course, you couldn't get in the room to vote if you hadn't paid. And you were given a ban. Once you're paid and you're in good standings, you were given a ban. And the subscription, that's 150 US every year. So St. Kitts and Nevis, we were up to par. So I still have on my green band for voting. ITTF Summit, Doha 2025. That's what it's called. I don't know if you could see. And we went in and we voted. Well, a long process. And then they have to, it could have been, and it maybe ought to have been electronically. However, one of the candidates, or maybe both candidates, and I don't think it's both, I think it's the challenger, who said they were not comfortable with the electronic voting. So, people that talk about votes just disappear here, and you vote for party A and the X slide across to party B, all kind of things. So, but anyway, we went to the voting for the by the old school, pen and paper. So they call you, you go there, they give you a card to operate with the BlackBerry. You have to put that card in the box first, and then they give you your document, stamp it, sign it, and you go on the table, and you vote, and then put that in a box. So after all that was done, and after all the counting was done, Petra, she got 17 votes online, whereas Khalil only got 4 votes. Then she had, how was it? She got 87 votes from the persons in the hall, and Khalil got 96. So when it comes to the counter now, Petra got 104 votes. That's Petra Sterling, the incumbent, and Khalil, the challenger, he got 102 votes. So this meant that Petra won by 2 votes. So she got 50.47. This is like the slimmest of margins for a victory. She got 50.47 votes, and Khalil, the incumbent, got 49.51 votes. Well, I think everybody getting ready to congratulate Petra. She went up, she gave her acceptance speech. And boy, from there, I don't want to use the word all hell break loose. I don't know if I could find something to describe that. But that was the end of that. And we stayed there for an hour and a half walking away. And Petra was announced and declared the president of ITTF. However, with all of these, the final decision was the executive committee is going to meet and decide the next step. So the WTTF, ITTF elections ended in some sort of a kind of way. So we don't know what is going to happen. We don't know what the executive committee is going to do. Some people there were suggesting that the members there voted again. But the problem was the online voters. When they started voting with the online voters, they were just 16 online voters, and we said that countries. But at the end of the day, they were 21. So persons were asking, hey, where these 5 countries come from? How are they getting into the thing? Well, in all fairness, the supervisor of elections, when we started, it was 16. And he said we now have 17 online, but he said it after the vote. And we were voting for some other things before we got here. And then another one came in to make it 18 or something like that. But it wasn't challenged. That perhaps is the problem. Because it wasn't challenged and it was allowed to go, then I don't know. But the 16 online voters ended up being 21 votes, all online voters altogether. And the persons in the house at the venue, the majority of those voted for Khalil, the challenger. And the incumbent president, she actually won because 17 of the 21 online voters voted for her. And so what is going to happen? A lot of speculation. Some persons say, well, we should have got to the voting again. And others suggested, hey, forget about and there was an electoral committee, so to speak. I forgot the name. It's not electoral committee to give it, but it had a name, who were responsible for governing the elections. So they said, no, we don't trust them people. So let's get some people from the audience to form a committee to oversee the elections. And if that were to happen, I think it would have had to been the president. She named 5 persons, I don't know, 3, I don't know. And then the incumbent select 3 or 5 as the case may be. Because both of them would have known who voting for them. And why all just before the elections, the campaigning. And I guess the president felt that she would have lost she's doing extra campaigning. Khalil was doing his campaigning too, but it appears as if most of the Caribbean countries supported Khalil, and most, if not all, of the African countries supported Khalil. And we have something like what in the Caribbean? Well, ITTF Americas comprises North America, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. So I think, and there were 8 of us from the 7 of us from the OECS. There was a gentleman from Antigua and Barbuda, St. Lucia, who is the president of the CRTTF, which is Caribbean Region Table Tennis Federation. Grenada was there, St. Vincent and the Grenadines were there. Dominica wasn't there. Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, Guyana wasn't there as well. Barbados was there. And then we had this Dominican Republic, they were there. Puerto Rico was there. Don't think Guadeloupe and Martinique were there. And of course, Mexico was there. Brazil. And hey, I met a lot of good people and I had some fun. The only thing is we didn't get to do any touring. So I think after being up there all these days, they should have had at least a half day rather than having a session that finished like 12 o'clock. Combine 2 sessions over one day and let's do some touring. The thing is, I'm coming back. I'm leaving here. I'm going to New York tomorrow, Godspeed, at 3 o'clock. And boy, things up here expensive in the mall. They got some lovely looking mall, but things expensive. I can't even buy a pair of socks like, oh, it's so expensive. So I don't know what's going to happen and how I'm going to tell me many cousins and sister and brother and sisters and daughters and all them kind of thing. That things so expensive I can't even buy a pin. I don't know why. And so much people say, why bring back something. And look like all I'm going to go bring back is myself. Why? Because it's expensive. But anyway, that's that on the ITTF elections. We're going to keep you updated on how it's going. Some persons are feeling that they're going to have a rerun of the elections in about 3 months' time. And whether we're going to be asked to come back again to Qatar, and I don't mind, or we're going to do it via Zoom. But if we do it via Zoom, the challenge of the trustworthiness that's going to come up. And it costed us, well, my ticket costed around 5,200 US. And it so happened, and that's what, that's 5,000, 13,000. No, something wrong, boy. Maybe I'm tired. It's 245. 2,000 US is 5,400. The ticket costed about 5,700 or there, about 5,600 something. And the ITTF paid for the ticket for every single body to come. So all you have to do is just find somebody in the association and come. So 187 out of 185 out of 227 people. So that means that's 27 and 15, that's 42 people, countries didn't show up. And I met persons from all over. As a matter of fact, I didn't know some countries existed. The kind of names I hear, I've never heard them before. First time I met somebody in person from Somalia and a couple places. No, I think I met some people from Lesotho already. But we are going to keep you informed. Now, the Sugar Boys, let's ship over to the phone, to the scene. And if you want to call and discuss something, ask a question, you can do so. 466-0989. Or you could WhatsApp me. Give me a call. WhatsApp me. If you're shy, like me, I tell people I'm a shy person, but nobody's studying me. Give me a call, 668-2055. And we'll gladly appreciate it. We'll discuss that. Make whatever suggestions you want to make. And again, we encourage anyone to come on board and assist with the partnering with us and the sponsorship. We could find any package for you. If you wanted to sponsor the first Tuesday in every month, okay, that's fine. We could work with that. If you want to sponsor the first and the last Tuesday in the month, we could work with that. If you want to sponsor the first hour of each program, that's okay. Or the first half or the first, or the last hour, as the case may be. Because On the Ball is heard every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. So come on board. Now, what we are going to do now, we are going to slip over to some cricket on the local scene. The James Harris T20 League, which is a WINN ball or tennis ball competition, will bowl off on Sunday, 15th June. And they are inviting all teams who are interested in playing in this league are asked to register with John Palmer, who is known as Montezuma from out of Saddlers. I'm probably, I look like sleep going to me, from out of Mansion. And whereas it is 7 something down in St. Kitts and the Nevis and the Caribbean, 7:48. We are here in Qatar, we're 7 hours ahead of you. So we're 2:48. And I've been having some challenges. Can't go sleep, waking up early. And I guess by the time I'm ready to leave, I'm leaving tomorrow, heading to New York. And I get to St. Kitts on Sunday, the 8th of June. I guess by the time I leave tomorrow, ready to leave, the body get acclimatized. I don't think so, but perhaps. And next week, Monday, is a public holiday. Right, Raspy? Next week, Monday is what next week, Monday? Whit Monday. And, normally the Green Valley, don't have some stuff. The Green Valley Fest, I don't know what they're doing, if they're doing. But I'm going to get back to St. Kitts after 3, I think it is Sunday afternoon. And I think I'm going to dig in a hole somewhere, get about 3, 4, 5, 6 hours sleep. And according to how the sleep work out, I thinking I'm going down, jamming from about 12:30 when the news finished down to 6 o'clock in the morning. Local, overseas, reggae, everything mixed up. I don't know yet, but we're going to have to wait and see how that goes. And when it comes to the T20, James Harris T20, it started in 2008. Christchurch won it back-to-back, 2008, 2009. So they were the first team to win the competition and the first team to win it back-to-back. 2010, Backstreet won it, the second team to do so, and they were back-to-back in 2011. So the second team to win it and the second to go back-to-back. Tabernacle was 2012, Front Street Limers 2013. There must be St. Martin with Front Street and Backstreet. 2014, Backstreet became the winningest team by winning it for a third time. 2015, Molyneux. 2016, Christchurch. They joined Backstreet to be the winningest team. Both of them winning it 3 times. That was 2016. 2017, there was none. 2018, back-to-back won it for the fourth time and thus becoming the most winningest team. Young Guns came on the scene in 2019 and won it. 2020 and 21, there wasn't any league because of the corona. 2022, Young Guns came back and won it. So they were the third team to win it back-to-back. They are the defending champions. So what's going to happen? I am not too certain if they're going to be in it this year, if they're going to win, but you have to register. And those of you who want more information on it, I could give you Montezuma's number to call. I hope he ain't vexing me or he ain't, according to old people, say hold me up in the hat. But Montezuma's number, James Palmer, 663-1822. 663-1822. And that is the James Harris T20 League. And I wonder if my producer could work with us with a break at this moment, a very short break. And we're going to be having the St. Kitts and Nevis Amateur Basketball Association in at 8 o'clock. And today we are finishing on 9 on the dot. So Mr. Sean Boxy Crosby, he is going to be in. He's the public relations officer for the St. Kitts and Nevis Amateur Basketball Association, SCANABA. And you remember they completed the junior league earlier in the season, and now they are in the senior, comprising of the Premier and the A. And we have a Spanish team. Samuel Constructions lost the me. I don't know what that really means, but they're there. Lost the me, and Boxy going to tell us a little more about it. So join us in about 8 minutes. Not that we're going to take an 8-minute break, but Boxy will be in live and in the studio. And those of you, and of course you could see my national flag there. And not only that, I have my other little desk national flag here. So anybody come into my room would know why I'm from St. Kitts and Nevis. I've been giving out some business cards. And who knows, maybe one of these days we'll watch some more table tennis championship in St. Kitts and Nevis. And boy, these Chinese, boy, they're really, really rough. The Chinese won it, the number 2 seed in the world. He won it at Southpaw. He defeated the number 3 seed in the world, Hugo Calderano, out of Brazil, and obviously Brazilians our zone. We went to watch the final, and I think I wonder if Hugo wasn't intimidated somewhat. Maybe he just had the butterflies. I don't know. But he was giving away some simple points. I believe even if I play with my left hand, I can't give them points. So I don't know. And he's the World Cup champion. And that win by the left-hander, he becomes the second left-hander to win it in the last 30 years. A Frenchman won it back in 5, and a left-hander. And China has won it for the last 11 years, every year, the men's singles. And they won the female singles as well. They won the mixed doubles. China is really a powerhouse. China is really a powerhouse. And to see that they were outbid, they were outbidden today, it's interesting. But Raspi, stick and stay. Let's go for a very short break, and we will be back with you very, very shortly. Stick and stay. Don't go away.
Do you want to know what's happening in sport? Tune in to On the Ball, a weekly tour show which is on WINN FM 98.9 every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. with me, your host, Troy Bif Mills. We will keep you on the ball with our variety of guests and, of course, your calls, discussing the facts and the stats and sharing your opinions. Get on the ball and stay on the ball by tuning into On the Ball with Troy Bif Mills on WINN FM 98.9 every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. and also on Facebook and YouTube. Be on the ball. Do you want to know what's happening in sport? Tune in to On the Ball, a weekly tour show which is on WINN FM 98.9 every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. with me, your host, Troy Bif Mills. We will keep you on the ball with our variety of guests and, of course, your calls, discussing the facts and the stats and sharing your opinions. Get on the ball and stay on the ball by tuning into On the Ball with Troy Bif Mills on WINN FM 98.9 every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. and also on Facebook and YouTube. Be on the ball.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Do you want to know what's happening in sport? Tune in to On the Ball, a weekly tour show which is on WINN FM 98.9 every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. with me, your host, Troy Bif Mills. We will keep you on the ball with our variety of guests and, of course, your calls, discussing the facts and the stats and sharing your opinions. Get on the ball and stay on the ball by tuning into On the Ball with Troy Bif Mills on WINN FM 98.9 every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. and also on Facebook and YouTube. Be on the ball. Do you want to know what's happening in sport? Tune in to On the Ball, a weekly tour show which is on WINN FM 98.9 every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. with me, your host, Troy Bif Mills. We will keep you on the ball with our variety of guests and, of course, your calls, discussing the facts and the stats and sharing your opinions. Get on the ball and stay on the ball by tuning into On the Ball with Troy Bif Mills on WINN FM 98.9 every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. and also on Facebook and YouTube. Be on the ball. Do you want to know what's happening in sport? Tune into On the Ball, a weekly tour show which is on WINN FM 98.9 every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. with me, your host, Troy Bif Mills. We will keep you on the ball with our variety of guests and, of course, your calls, discussing the facts and the stats and sharing your opinions. Get on the ball and stay on the ball by tuning into On the Ball with Troy Bif Mills on WINN FM 98.9 every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. and also on Facebook and YouTube. Be on the ball.
St. Kitts and Nevis listens to
WINN FM 98.9.
WINN FM 98.9.
Welcome back to another edition of On the Ball here at WINN FM 98.9. I am Troy Bif Mills. Thank you very much for joining me. And I have with me in the studio Mr. Sean Boxy Quasley, the Public Relations Officer for the St. Kitts and the Nevis Amateur Basketball Association. I realize he look a little frightened and scared. I don't know if it's because first time he making history. First time we're actually doing this setup where I'm hosting On the Ball from out of the studio. But I'm not out of the studio. I'm out of the Federation. I'm out of the Caribbean. I'm halfway around the world in Qatar. So I'm live and lively from Qatar. And like I said, you see my national flag in the back, and I still got my little national flag. So anybody come in the room to visit would know is, well, maybe we need to get a flag for SP with the best, you know. But the next best thing is saying, good night, Boxy. Good night. How are you, sir? And
I think we have too much talented athletes, and I think you need to upgrade the logo and use local athletes. You have Claxton, who is doing well. We have we have the first cricketer for the West Indies. We have good track stars. We got basketball. We got good footballers. So I think, and netballers. So I think you should push the locals. So update the logo for me, please.
I only man from SP with the best because they come up with an idea like that. Appreciate it. I'm gonna get me artists work on that. And we say good night to those persons who listening. Montezuma over in Mansion, James Palmer. We have Philip Eustace Hendrickson up in New York. He normally sends some things on Facebook and things like that. And who do we have? We have Lornette Somerset over in Cairn. We have Evie. That's a blind lady. She lives up by Bacter Shop. And well, touch me up. Curtis Cook, he normally listens. Jamdong, he loves the show. So thank you, folks, for coming on in and listening. And of course, Jazara Claxton, it's on the menu to touch. I probably should have started with that, but Jazara making history. The second petition to play for West Indies. She's the first female. Kyle was first female, but Kyle was the first male. We say congratulations to her. And she actually got a wicket on debut. 4 overs, I think it was 15 runs.
1 wicket.
And she make a bad duck, a 1-ball duck. But congratulations to her to see she got to play, and we wish her all the best. I told somebody a few years ago I expected to go on to become captain of the West Indies team at some point in the future. Yes,
yeah. She's very young, so she have a long way to go.
Yeah, and I believe Kyle will be as well. If they would want to give to captains from St. Kitts, we'll have to wait and see. But thank you for being with us. And remember the numbers to call, 466-0989. In the US, 718-285-6984. And if you're shy like me and you don't want to talk, you could actually send me a WhatsApp, 668-2055. Boxy, basketball started the 2025 season early in the year. And the youth arm of it got out. And who are the champions again, and where are they from? The
Ram Sandy Point Futa Falcons was victorious for the Scanaba Junior League, 2025 Junior League. Then you have Rams Hitters junior team was one up. So there was the two team in the finals, and Falcons winning the series 2-1.
So I'm sure Rams, they had the best of both worlds.
Yes.
Anyone with the team winning the championship, Rams picking up still.
Yeah.
But you guys would have lost one match.
For the whole season. For the whole season. Yeah.
How did that really happen?
Well, about 4 key players was out for that game. We had like 4 key players out for the game, so it was kind of short-handed at the time. So we came like actually 3 players out of the starting 5. Yeah, so that kind of hampered us a little bit, but then they was back for the final game, and where we started, and the first game 1, we finished it in game 3.
Okay. And it was the best of 3 or best of 5?
Yeah, the best of 3. The juniors is best of 3.
Okay. So what's next for the juniors though?
Well, there's a tournament supposed to be coming up in St. Martin. It was supposed to be actually starting this week, but because of exams, it's an under 18 tournament, and the Fed side it's being pushed back to July. Should start July 10th. They want to do it after the exams. Squad is being put into place, so they should be starting practice soon. But we have to try to work around the schedule because because of the exams. Then we have our senior league just started 2 weeks ago. Senior league started 2 weeks ago. You know, it's actually I just come from Dorset Park where we had the game playing Nevis versus Fire and Rescue, No Limit Fire and Rescue. So we have some basketball action going on at the moment. We have games played in Sunny Point, Keyan, Dorset, and Boardwalk. And games will be played in Nevis also, as we have a team out of Nevis.
How has been the response to the decentralization of the games?
Great.
Away from the...
Great. Great. You know, we was centered around Basketball City. And, you know, people to come to Bastia, but now we're bringing it to them. And you see the support. Actually, the game we had in Sunny Point, the first game for the senior Sunny Point, the turnout was awesome. You know, same thing for Keyan. Keyan had the first game over the weekend. You know, the turnout, so you're bringing it to the community, so you find it's easier for people. You don't have to worry about catching bus late and them stuff. So, you know, the people in the community come out, and then you get more youngsters involved. Actually, a youngster messaged one of the page, I think it was the Instagram page, say he's 22 years and he's interested in playing basketball. You know, he been following the page and he see the games played in the community. Well, the youngster is actually from Sunny Point, but the person who was on the page at the time told me about it. And, you know, so this is the kind of positive things we're getting out of it.
That's wonderful. So you carry to the communities, you get the bigger crowds. Because people are going to come out for various reasons.
And then, you know, the parents going to come and support the kids because it's right there for them.
And some people, yes, they may like basketball, but don't want to be journeying to Bastia every so often to look at it. And maybe some people just don't have anything to go say, hey, let me go to the basketball. In terms of do you operate a gate at some of these venues that you can?
Yes, we do. All the venues are enclosed and we operate the gate. It's only $5 to get you in at each venue. So, yes, so far. But the bars are being run by either the club or people in the community.
Okay, well, I was just going to ask about the revenue sharing opportunities. So you answered that. So that is a good thing. And how are plans coming in Basketball City, the repairs?
Well,
that's the reason why you're playing in the communities. So would you say that is a blessing in disguise with the repairs?
It is you know, as I always say, everything does happen for a reason. You know, God don't give nobody no more than it could be. It's a plus. So by the time we move back into Basketball City, at least people in the community will see the excitement from the games and will be willing now to come out to Basketball City and watch the games. They'll be more interested now. So it's a plus.
So when you go back, when are you hoping to go back into Basketball City?
Well, we already count out this year. So we are hopefully looking at, once everything goes well, we're looking at January. Okay.
So having gone back to Basketball City, would you guys be considering carrying games to the...
There's something in the pipeline. Something in the pipeline.
Oh, okay
Yeah.
then. I like the idea. But weather, you've been hit a little bit by weather. You
Yeah,
have to
we
find
had
out.
I think sometime you can talk me about games. The games on Thursday and Saturday was rain out. You know,
Mm.
I keep preaching this for years about the indoor. I think too much revenue have passed into this country, and I think in terms no, not only for basketball. When you look at netball and volleyball, it could be a multi-purpose center. Also used for events. So this is something I think we need in the country.
I, as I said earlier, I'm here in Doha, Qatar, and where they play the World Table Tennis Championship. A massive, massive place. Why? It's like you have the bottom layer seats, and then you have the, what do you call them, boxes, and then on top of the boxes you still have another set of seats. And I was hoping to go and see, have a word with the government and see if we can get even 10% of them.
And these stuff is it's not hard. Honestly, my Montserrat too had the volcano developing. Montserrat have a nice little indoor station. All these small islands, and Gwilla just built a indoor. I think it was completed last year in November or sometime. So these small islands actually doing it when it comes to the indoor facility.
I think Tartola has one as well, if I'm
Tatola
not
probably have
mistaken.
three.
Three.
I traveled to Tartola a couple times to play basketball. Yeah, they have. I think, but one is owned by a church. There's a church have an indoor gym inside the church itself.
Mhm. But this place, boy, it's a massive, massive, massive place, and they have like the big screens, basketball style.
Hmm.
Now you're looking up and you're seeing pictures, you're seeing scores, and why them Chinese, why? I could have swear everybody in Qatar is Chinese because of, like, sure it's about 1,000, 2,000 of them come, and it look like that is what they do because they're very powerful in table tennis.
Yes, they always have a good
And
team in table tennis.
yeah, man, and they just have, well, the guy in the final, Hugo, he's from Brazil, so that is our continent. So those guys there from the Saint Kitts and Santo Domingo, probably 15 of us, we shouting. Nobody could hear us with all them racket the Chinese going on with. So,
Yeah.
but to get that, so when we get that, when we get our table tennis stadium, we're gonna be able to allow you guys to use it and share it, of course, with
Of course.
volleyball and netball and what have you.
Sharing is caring, of course.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So, how many teams you have in the Premier League and how the competition
So we
going?
have 8 teams in the Premier League. We have 8 teams in the Premier League so far. You have most of the teams probably played 2 or 3 games. Let me give you a little update on the Premier League. So far, you have hitters played 2 games, won both games. There are hitters with 6 points. Then you have Boardwalk played 2 games also with 6 points. Then you have Falcons with they are 1-1 with 4 points, and then you had the other Falcons team also 1-1. You have Kayan who is win 1 game, lose 2. Then we have Wolfpack who is also they win 1 game, lose they're 1-1, and Semper's Tough Nut they're 1-1. Old Road Ballhawks they are 0-3.
0-3.
Yeah.
Um, they've been out for some time.
Old Road they just promoted to the Premier. They were
Okay.
just promoted. There was them and the other Falcons team was promoted to the Premier last year. Both teams was in the final. Falcons becoming victorious, and they was promoted to the Premier along with Old Road Ballhawks.
And who you have down in the
In the
A
A
division?
division, we have Nevis is dominating the A division. There, when I leave at Dorset Park, they was up by some 20 something, and the fire and rescue team. So it looking like Nevis will be 3-0 after tonight. Then you have the fire. They are 0-3. Give me 1 second. Then you have Skywalkers. They win one game, lose one game. We have Jayhawks, who win 3 games, lose one.
That's Achievers Sports Club's Jayhawks.
Yeah, Achievers Sports Club's Jayhawks. Oh. Then you have Las Dominion. They win one.
I like the name. Is Las Dominion or Las Domini?
Las Dominion. It's supposed to be Las Dominion. 869ers Las Dominion.
I like that name, boy. Las Dominion. I like that name. I like that name.
Yeah, so they actually they actually win 1 and lose 2. Win 1 and lose 2. Yeah.
A few years ago, somebody tell me the St. Kitts and Nevis national teams, football and track and field and whatever, they're going to be comprised of a lot of Spanish. And it seemed to have started happening already because they have some Spanish crew who made the youth sides in football. So that's a good thing. So because they're here, they're living here, so why not?
Yeah,
why love the name last week?
Yeah, but for this week, we have a lot of basketball action going on this week. We have actually tonight, as I told you, the Nevis versus the Youth and Sport Eagles out of Nevis coming up against No Limit Fire and Rescue. When I left, the Nevis was leading some 57-29 when I left the game. And then you have the second game will be 869ers Las Dominion versus Skywalkers. Skywalkers is a new team in the A division. That's a new team based mostly from the St. Peter's area. And then on Thursday we have Rams Hitters coming up, ENK Minimart, Sunny Point Falcons Ballers. That's the new team that came up for Falcons. And then at 8 p.m. we have Boardwalk Uprisers coming up against defending champions ASC Wolfpack. So this game will be Thursday at Boardwalk. The game for tonight is at Dorset, and Thursday games will be at Boardwalk. Games on Sunday. We have games this Sunday, and these games would be in Sandy Point for this Sunday. Sunday game, we have Rams Hitters coming up, ENK. No, this is Thursday, sorry, my bad. First, you have Saturday, you have Youth and Sport Eagles. Will be in Nevis. This is Saturday versus ASC Wolfpack A team. This will be in Nevis, 7 p.m. And then we have at 6:30 in Dorset, we have ASC Jayhawks coming up against Skywalkers. And then there was a rain-out game between Hitters and Boardwalk that will play 8 p.m. on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we have Old Road Ballhawks versus Kayan Lions. And then Sol Sunny Point Falcons versus defending champs ASC Wolfpack. And these games on Sunday will be in Sunny Point. Saturday games will be in Dorset. And Thursday games will be in Boardwalk. So we share the wealth.
From what I'm understanding from you, Sandy Point has 3 teams.
Actually,
2 in the seniors and the youth.
Yeah, 1 in the juniors and 2 in the seniors.
Okay. A few years ago.
Well, it's actually 4. We have but the under 15 don't be until in the summer. So then now we have like an under 15 tournament, but that don't be until in the summer.
Well, how you go about getting these guys in Sandy Point? Because you had Fig Tree the Revelers some time ago. Did they win the championship, Fig Tree?
Yeah, they win. I actually played with Fig Tree the year when they win the championship.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you had this other team.
Sandy Point Pride. They also win the championship a year. Well, in 2006, that's when I take over the Falcon coach in the junior team in 2006. And after, junior league is 18. So, the kids, so they came to mind, the kids, them getting old. You don't want them to done with the sport. So in order to keep the kids, you form a senior team. So that's when we start with the A division. And then after this A division team went to the Premier, then I started the next team in the A division again. So you had the Premier, but the A division team was doing so well. Now they promoted to the Premier, which in you don't really want that, because you want that as the feeding team to keep the Premier team strong. So yeah, so the team, the youngsters, and as we actually have like four, 5 junior players promoted into the senior teams this year.
And that's good stuff. And I was reading some sports news from your report from your game, and I was hearing Princey Haji playing with Tough Nuts.
Oh, no, Taslin. That's the brother.
Taslin.
Yeah.
That's Taslin.
That's the brother, yeah.
That's the brother. So are you saying that you have so many players in Sandy Point, you could afford to get them off to other communities?
Well, you lose some, you get some, because I actually had a player came back. He played with us from juniors, then he played with Fire for 2 years, and then he came back home. Actually come back this year. Then I had a next player who came from Fire also, who joined the team. So, you lose some, you get some. So these things happen all the time. Plus chance for the feel comfortable. I guess where they feel comfortable other places. So, it's their choice, their opinion. So you can't go wrong with that.
And you're having 2 rounds of matches in both divisions?
Yes, both division is 2 rounds, and the top 4 teams from each division go to the playoff.
And is it gonna be a one-off playoff or the best of 3 or whatever?
How the playoff is, the top 4 is round robin, and then the top 2 teams out of the round robin go to the finals. The Premier is best of 5. The A division is best of 3.
Okay, that sounds good. And I'm noticing, I think it's Wolfpack. They have an A team and a B team as well.
They have a junior team, an A team, and a Premier team.
So
they've been doing some good works there also, yeah. And also with the Jayhawks, they have a junior team and a A team.
And that Tobias is, I think, is the coach for that.
He's the head of he don't really coach now, but he's the head of the ASC, the group.
Empire. I think that is a good.
And as we hear and we bring up Tobias, I just want to give condolence out on behalf of the St. Kitts Nevis Amateur Basketball Association. His mother passed. As you know, I was overseas also. Many was on the same flight going to New York, and I found out his mother passed. So on behalf of the St. Kitts Nevis Amateur Basketball Association, we just want to send out some condolence to Mr. Romel Tobias.
Well, I join you on behalf of the management staff, board of directors of WINN FM 98.9, and on behalf of the news and the sports department, and yours truly, the sportscaster producing the daily news, as well as the host of On the Ball. We say condolences to him as well. I didn't hear anything at all, so thanks for letting us know. So, what after this season with the seniors and the A team? What's next?
Well, after the season, now maybe take a break until December. But we have other tournaments that's becoming up. We have like Chi, which is becoming a big thing now. The Chi tournament. Then we have other tournaments. So as we get invitation, now the tournament in Montreal will be the first 2 weeks in December. That's the under 25, and then you have other tournaments going on. So we prepare after the season. Well, this year the season gonna end probably in September because the late start, the delay of the basketball city. So we have a late ending in now. Maybe done in like July, early August. So we're looking like September this year. Once they weather work with us.
So apart from the Montserrat, is it a national team or a club team that will go and represent?
Well, it's a national team. It's a national team. They have an invitational tournament where they invite Tatola, Stacia, Antigua, St. Kitts Nevis. So they send out invitation to other islands to attend this tournament. So normally when you talk about club teams, if club teams like for my team, for example, when they won the championship, it was a reward trip to Montreal to play basketball. And it was also an invitation from them because I think they was having something at the time, and we was the champion at the time, so they invited us.
Okay. That's wonderful. Any regional, sub-regional competition on the calendar for any time this year?
Well, as I tell you, there's some Chianchi tournament coming up. As I told you, the tournament in St. Martin, the under 18. They just had a tournament in Tatola the other day. A club, well, that was taken part by a club team from here, the ASC organization. So there's a lot of tournament out there. Then they have the Battle of the Fittest coming up in St. Martin also. So there's a lot of tournament out there in the year.
I like the idea about the 3 and the 3.
It's becoming a big thing now, a real big thing. And you know,
I'm getting that it may very well be part of the Olympics in Los Angeles in 2028.
Yes.
That's wonderful. And how many players comprise a team? Four, 6, 4. Okay.
I will have a substitute.
So you guys thinking about having a local 3 and 3?
Yes, that is in the pipeline to have a local tournament, Chianchi tournament.
You had out, excuse me, you had out a notice the other day soliciting volunteers. How is that project going?
Well, actually tonight I see a referee there who I haven't seen in a while to see him come back. Troy was out of Basketball City a while. I must, give him a round of applause to be back. It's difficult getting referees, and I would like if we could get more younger ones involved. There's a youngster from Maligno or somebody there. I know he used to play with the Maligno team, and I like to see him on the court. It's a good look, good young referee. We like to get more referees involved. We're actually looking people for a referee and to keep stats. So there's people who come out, show their interest to be a part of it. And it's so far we're getting there, step by step.
What all it takes to become a referee, a basketball referee?
Well, you got your the necessary training. We have a referee who would teach you. Like the other day, we had a little session at Dorset with Mr. Tobias was leading. They were showing the referees like certain things. Some of these new referees in terms of where they stand for a call, how the calls go. So this is thing we organize and help in order to help the referees to get better and to do better.
That's wonderful. Girls basketball.
Well, for some time we haven't had a female league, and it's we had a female in quite some time. I think the last time was when Mr. Tobias was the president. We had a female league, and that is something we probably need to get back into. The female basketball is becoming a big thing. Okay, as you can see with the WNBA.
I remember Andrea McCoy, I think it was. I remember she being around it, and there's a Russ from Bastia. Well, actually, two Russ, a slim one. I can't remember the name. One from up Newtown, and another one who sells nuts. I remember the two of them being around and things like that, but that was some time back. So I think it's always a wonderful thing to get the females into sports.
But actually, when we do the under 15, we allow females to play with the guys. So if they have interest, when we do the under 15, we allow a female to play with the guys.
Summer is coming up. You guys doing anything for the summer? Any camps?
Well, normally they'll be having a camp this year, hosted by James Hanley. It's the Glen Ghostfield camp. Also, we have the Reach One, Teach One, ROTO. They also do the summer camp. I myself thinking about hosting a summer camp this year. It's been a while since Falcons haven't put on a summer camp. Then we normally have the under 15 tournament. We normally do that when school closed during the summer. So there's a lot of camps going to be going on this year.
That's wonderful, man. And when you're suspecting, of course, I know this might depend on when and things like that, but when you're suspecting the season's going to be wrapping up?
Probably about September. Looking at hope, as I say, depending on the weather, it will be September. As I tell you earlier, we had a late start, in terms of with the courts. So we're looking at September. Normally we're done like in July, but we're looking at September.
That's wonderful. any school competitions being run, whether primary school or high school?
Well, the other day, this was something came up in an executive meeting that probably we need to liaise more with the Ministry of Education and Sports in terms of having basketball back in my schools. Because I remember when I was in school, that's where most coaches would come and get the junior players from school tournament. I remember when we used to play up Bastia High behind on the court, and then you would see Bam and Little and these guys, and this is where the scouts were getting the players for to play for the junior league. So this is something we probably need to get back into.
Barman, why? What is it going to take to get Barman not be a part of basketball? Ever since
it's his passion. It's his passion. He it's something he loves. His passion, and I admire it a lot. Toka is he been in this for almost 50 something years. So he's he love the love for the game. As simple as it look, is actually gonna be next year gonna make 20 years I'm coaching. And I'm a part of Falcon since like 98 when I started as a junior player.
Wow. That time flies by.
Yeah, so
I remember, when I was in high school, fourth form, fifth form, one of those two. Barman actually started the youth league. And it was played up Dorset.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Sandy Point High, we were the SPHS Rockets. We were part of it. And that was big. I remember playing with Marty Robin. Of course, I used to dabble with the basketball, but I was more the bench chemist. So, warming the bench. And I remember Marty them days playing as well. And why from day one you could see Marty he was just something special. Why?
That's a real legend.
And this is on like 80, 81, somewhere down there. And Barman was the man behind the youth thing, the youth competition.
Mm-hmm.
So he, no matter what you do to Barman, you can't take the basketball out of him at all. He's always there. He has been there. And hitters in the first instance, but Sankis and Nevis in the second instance. He has really been doing a wonderful job with the basketball, and especially started that youth tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And Leeward Islands Championship proper, or OECS Championship. Is there a Leeward Islands Basketball Association?
Well,
has there been one?
In terms of the LIBA, if we have an association that is functioning, to that part I cannot understand. But it's been quite some time now we haven't had LIBA. LIBA was a big thing even for me. I played LIBA as a national player for St. Kitts. So it's been quite some time we haven't had a LIBA tournament. So this is probably something the presidents from these Leeward Islands need to come together and need to form back LIBA.
There was an OECS competition sometime back as well, isn't it?
The last OECS competition I could remember, it was played in St. Kitts went to Jamaica. With the team to Jamaica. That's the last time I could remember.
Okay. But I know these things, finance, that's one of the big things with these things.
It's challenging,
but
trust me.
Yeah.
In terms of sponsorship really and all this stuff. And honestly,
travel.
Since COVID, everybody tight on sponsorship.
Yeah, interesting. So you mind giving us the upcoming games again? And wrapping up accordingly?
So as I tell you, this coming Thursday, we have Rams Hitters versus Ian Community Mart Sunny Point Falcon Ballers. That's at 6:30 p.m. This game will be at Dorset. And then at 8 p.m., we have Boardwalk Uprisers coming up against the defending champions, ASC Wolfpack. So these is the games for Thursday. This is Thursday games, and these games will be at Dorset Park this Thursday. And then on Saturday, that is the 31st, we have in Nevis at 7 p.m. we have Youth and Sport Eagles coming up against ASC Wolfpack A team. And then in St. Kitts, 6:30 p.m. at Dorset Park, we have ASC Jayhawks coming up against Skywalkers. And then at 8 p.m. we have a rain game, SL Hashford St. Paul's Tough Nuts coming up against Farm Care Boardwalk Uprisers. Then on Sunday we head down to Sandy Point where we have Old Road Ball Hawks coming up against Kayan Lions at 6:30 p.m. And then at 8 p.m. we have Sol Sandy Point Falcons coming up against ASC Wolfpack, the defending champions. So that's the games for this weekend. Come on out. We're going to have games in Boardwalk, Sandy Point, Dorset. So come on out this weekend. It's only $5 and show your support to St. Kitts Nevis Amateur Basketball Association.
Who are some of the referees you have? You mentioned a youngster coming up, but who are some of the seasoned referees you have?
Well, normally we have Kevin Foy, who was a former police officer. I think he works at Customs now. We have Keatley Hicks. We have Moose, former national player. We have Troy, gentleman by the name of Troy. We have Ian, who is in it quite some time. Then we have DA. He's nationality is he actually from Dominica, but he live here quite some time. So
okay.
And then as I told you, the youngster. So we have, but if anybody out there listening to On the Ball interested in being a part of the St. Kitts Nevis Amateur Basketball Association and being a referee or being a statistician, you can always contact me, reach out to me, reach on our page. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. We go to our page and hit us up if you're interested and come and join the team.
Do you have female referees?
Quite the last female referee I could remember we had was Vanny. This lady named Vanny, she used to work at the port. I think she still work at the port, and Palmer. Oh, this lady work at Chenry. Yeah, that was the last female referee I could remember we had.
That's interesting. But if people want to reach out and get in contact with the Scanaba, how could they do that?
Well, as I tell you, we could hit up our Scanaba Facebook page or on Instagram. You could always reach out to us and let us know if you're interested. If you want to hit up the games commissioner, I don't know if it's okay to put his number on here. I don't know because that's his personal number, but his name is Keith Lewis. He's the games commissioner. So if anybody interested in being a part of the statistician or being a referee, that's the contact person. Anybody on the executive, we have Glenn Jeffers, Wendell Pemberton, Jakita Thomas, Des, me. So anybody who is interested in Sheldon Pemberton, just reach out to anybody on the executive.
Oxy, it was indeed a pleasure having you here on the
me.
ball. Yet another time, you're no stranger. And I congratulate you and your association on the work you guys have been doing and keeping the basketball going, especially the new dimension, the 3x3,
yes,
which is a super thing. And I think you guys went to Guyana. It was
Guyana.
last year.
And we did well in Guyana. We placed fifth, but that's not bad with all them countries, so we did well. I see it as a good look.
Is it happening again this year?
Yes, later on in the year.
Okay, so you guys going back. That's wonderful. You say congratulations to you and your executive on the work you're all doing.
Thanks.
And it could never be easy at all. These leagues, going up to the games 4 or 5 nights a week, 6 nights a week, and things like
4
that.
days a week. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. A division games are played Tuesdays and Saturdays. Premiers is Thursdays and Sunday. Any game being weighed out, they're fixtured in the Monday or Wednesday.
Okay, that's wonderful. So congratulations again to you, Boxy. And yes, you did mention that we went out on the same aircraft, and I think you came back in today. So basically,
yes.
Is it today you came back? So
yes.
You went straight from the plane to the studio. we appreciate that, and we extend condolences to you as well for the loss of your granny who passed.
Yes, thanks.
A couple of weeks ago. Condolences to her.
Thanks.
To you. So thank you for being with us, and
thanks for having me. And everybody out there in New Zealand, come on out, support this. Come on out and support the St. Kitts Nevis Amateur Basketball Association. You know, we have games in Cairn, Sunny Point, Dorset, Boardwalk. You know, it's only $5 to get you in. We have games this coming Thursday at Dorset, Saturday at Thursday at Boardwalk, Saturday at Dorset, Sunday at Sunny Point. And Mr. Mills, make sure when I come back your logo change. Okay?
All right.
Support your own. Support your own.
Like the idea.
Support your own.
Sometimes as obvious things are, you don't really see them.
Yes.
And but I like the idea.
Yes. While I was here, waiting to think and I see this, man, some athletes on this island, and you have Kim Collins, all these people who put our name out there. So these is people we should recognize.
Yeah, definitely. But thanks a lot again, Boxy.
Okay. Thanks for having me.
Be safe.
Yeah.
And we'll touch base again and hope that you'll be able to be on the show again.
Yeah, and all the best out there, and enjoy Qatar and have a safe journey back home.
Why, yes, boy, this is history, and you're part of history. First time we're doing this, and it's not just like I said, the Caribbean. This is halfway around the world where this thing happening. You home, your time in St. Kitts is like what? 7.
It's actually 8:51.
8:51. But here in Qatar, we're 3:51 minutes to 4. I never in my wildest dream, I believe I would have been up minutes to 4 talking to anybody. But that is life when you enjoy doing something. But thanks a lot again. And get home to SP where the best be safe.
Yeah, thanks.
Do you want to know what's happening in sport? Tune in to On The Ball, a weekly talk show which is on WINN FM 98.9 every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. with me, your host, Troy Bif Mills. We will keep you on the ball with our variety of guests and, of course, your calls, discussing the facts and the stats and sharing your opinions. Get on the ball and stay on the ball by tuning into On The Ball with Troy Bif Mills on WINN FM 98.9 every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. and also on Facebook and YouTube. Be on the ball.
Welcome back to On The Ball here to WINN FM 98.9. We are down to the last stretch. And forgive me if I tell you the time is 3:53 a.m. because that is the time where I am. I am in Qatar, Doha, Qatar, and that is actually the time, 3:51. Qatar 7 hours ahead of the Caribbean. We were talking about some table tennis earlier, and I actually got a question and a comment as well. And it seems like obviously the person knows about basketball. I did indicate that the champion Wang Chukwin, I think that is the name. And I know people say, oh, Chinese the name the children. Why people will feel? They say they drop a spoon. If it's a boy, they drop a spoon. And according to the sound, that's going to be the name of the children. And for the girls, if they drop what do you call it? A fork, and that's going to be the name. Very interesting indeed. But yes, the gentleman, he did indicate that the Southpaw, he would have won it sometime back in 1995. So that's like 35 years ago. And it was a Frenchman who won it. And there were a few of them, a few Southpaws or left-handers in the competition. So 30 years ago, from 1995 to 2025. And in terms of the elections that I spoke about, my apologies for not giving it so clearly. The incumbent was Petra Sarling from Sweden. She's the first female to become the president of the ITTF. She's a member of the IOC. She's a member of WADA as well, the World Anti-Doping Agency. And she came up against, I should put it another way. Her challenger was Khalid Ahmed Al-Mohannadi. His kind of name, why? Khalil Ahmed Al-Mohannadi. And he's the president of the Qatar Table Tennis Federation, the Arab Asian Table Tennis Federation, and he's a director of ITTF World Tennis as well. And the competition was beautiful. And the issue, according to what is being asked, persons are questioning the way the voters who voted online, how they became part of the thing, they set up. At one point, it was 16 online voters, and they inched up 17, 18, but persons are arguing that the other two, they were not part of the system. So the legitimacy of the elections, that is being challenged. And once that's the case, persons not having the doubt. So there may very well be, I don't know, there may very well be another election for the ITTF, maybe 3 months from now. So one, I don't know if they'll have it in Qatar again, or two, I don't know if they'll have it in another venue. I don't want to use the word neutral venue, but that has been taunted around. So that may very well be the case. Neutral venue, whichever country that is. And because persons might feel a little uneasy there. So we have to wait and see how that is going to work out. And cricket, Jazara Claxton. She has made history by being the first female from St. Kitts and Nevis, and I think the Leeward Islands to represent the West Indies senior female team. But not only that, she actually picked up a wicket in England in their third and final T20. England, West Indies won the toss and they invited England to bat first. England were 144 for 5 from 20 overs, and West Indies, they only could get to 127 for 8 after 20 overs. And that was the end of their story. Jazara Claxton, the fourth, well, when she batted she batted high up. I think it's about 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So she batted 6. She got a 1-ball duck. And when she bowled, she was the first change bowler. So really giving her some playing time. And she had bowled 4 overs, no maiden, 15 runs, 1 wicket. So we say congratulations to her and keep on working. We say congratulations to Kyle as well. And keep on working indeed, Kyle. And football is happening Wednesday 28th. That is tonight. Oh, sorry. I'm forgetting Qatar, not tonight. Tomorrow night. And that's interesting for me. I am here saying tomorrow night when tomorrow night is tonight. So on Wednesday night, the 28th, the FA Cup finals between SL Horsford's Impulse and Rams Village Superstars. That's playing at the stadium, the Warner Park. And SL Horsford's St. Paul's United, they no doubt will be going out to really win that championship because they want to be the undisputed champions for this year. They want to capture that trophy as well as the league championship. And they're the defending champions. So they have a lot of things going on and they still have time for their developing their budding stock. So Tristy Basu is the referee. Jaden Rouse and Jevian Archibald, the assistant referees. Jody Walters, the fourth official. Kenny Martin is the referee assessor. Friday is going to have a double header in the Division 1 category. Newtown United, they are going to be, coming up against KFC Trinity Challengers at 6 p.m. at Warner Park. All these matches are at Warner Park. Kimball Ward, Mario Parry, Jaden Rouse, Orlando Mitchum, the officials. And then in the feature game, Friday Garden Hotspurs versus Unicomedy Cable Village Galaxy. He wanted to, where are we again? That's Skelett Garden Hotspurs. 8 p.m., Akeem Harvey. Josh Leader and Lenoy Paris, the officials, the assistants. Jermaine Wickham, the fourth, the fourth official. And he's going to be there to make sure everything is organized. So, with the game. So that's Wednesday, Friday. Of course, the fixture goes down to Sunday, June the 2nd. Sunday the 1st, June. Monday, 2nd June. But you will have to get your papers together, get them in organized and get them your notes, etc. So while we're talking about notes, I am getting some notes as well. I remind you of the James Harris T20 Win Ball League. And well, hold on, registration should have happened already, I think, yeah. I go call Win him and see if he open. Registration still open, I think it's by the 15th. I don't know. And maybe if you go still, it might. I look like when you're sleepy. It is kind of time, anything. What was I trying to get? So, I'm not there. But the contact Palmer. Oh, I know we have the information. Sports. Oh boy, this thing. Sports news. Yes, oh no. Registration is the 31st of May. $100 fee registration. And you can't play unless you register. So that is the James Harris Cricket League will bowl off on Sunday, 15th June. All teams interested in playing in this league are asked to register with John Palmer no later than 31st of May, 2025. Registration is just a paltry $10 than $100. Yeah, man, not change. $100 the registration fee. And let us wrap up again. We spoke about basketball. We spoke about, oh yes, domino. How could we forget domino, boy? We can't forget domino. That domino happening down in Old Road at Gijo's Bar. And this time it is being sponsored by Mr. Azad Gums. Games played in the Azad Gums Constituency 4 tournament on Sunday afternoon at Gijo's Bar, Station Street, Old Road. Upsetters versus Tillamarnin. Tillamarnin won 12 games to 2. So I guess they really upset the Tillamarnin and they didn't have the wine name. 13-2. That's a real trash in here. 13-2. The Tillamarnin, they had the formula. Masters of the Art, Motor. They won 13-5 versus the Masters of the Art. Victory versus Newcomers. Victory won 13 games to 5. And then Fire Kings versus Poor Man Pocket. Fire Kings won 13-2, given to 12 games. And we say congratulations to them. Patriots versus the Bar. Patriots won 14 games to 7. And the Bar, so if anything is missing from here, the Bar versus Master of the Art. And where we now looking for some, yes, I had the games continue on Tuesday, that's tonight. 7 p.m. I'm going to have the results for you. The Bar versus Masters of the Art. War Dogs versus Fire Kings. Poor Man Pocket versus Tillamarnin. I think out of all these names, I like Tillamarnin. Newcomers versus Upsetters. Victory versus Patriots. That is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 teams they have going on. So go on out and support the domino. Go on out and support these guys. Domino is really an interesting game, why? It's not one of my strengths. Even I could dabble a little bit about it. I have it, how things going here and there. But you make sure you go on out and you support the domino players. I think I'm going to make my, but I can't say make my exit because the bed is just about 6 feet here from me. So cool and smooth. We say congratulations to Molyneux Blue Runners for successfully defending their T20 cool and smooth competition. Molyneux, they won the inaugural competition last year and they're coming back this year and winning it. Congratulations to them. Boundhill Dolphins, they made it into the finals. However, Molyneux was too much for them. So we say congratulations to them as well. We're going to be signing off, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a pleasure being here with you on the ball again. Thank you to those persons who would be listening and tuning in. We appreciate that. And say a big thank you to Sean Boxey for coming up and sharing some information with us. They said the Sugar Boys, they played 2 internationally friendly in preparation for the World Cup. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they beat us in St. Kitts 3-1, and they beat us down in St. Vincent 3-1. So we really got to go and come again. And there was a second team, Sugar Boys, that went down to St. Martin to play in a competition there. I'm not certain how they should be called. The junior team, I don't think it's the senior team because you want to put your serious team towards the the World Cup. So, and we're having the World Cup qualifiers starting next year, God's Spear. So I think the initiative with the two teams is a good thing. How many more times it can happen again, I don't know. I think it was the first two, so I guess the weekend there was a record-breaking weekend, so to speak. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for tuning in with us. Tune in again next week, Tuesday. Well, I'm heading for New York tomorrow. So I'll be doing the show from New York next week, Tuesday, God's Spear. So I won't have this time difference here of 7 hours. So thank you for joining us, and be careful when you're driving. Be careful, extremely careful. Don't drive too close behind the vehicle in front of you. You don't want to get in an accident. You don't want to create an accident. Don't drive too fast. Cut back on your speeding. Observe and honor the speed limits. The life you take might very well be your own or your loved ones. Thanks a lot for joining again, and I always encourage you to be positive in your thoughts, in your words, in your actions. Thanks for joining us. Ciao for now. See you next week. God's Spear.